despite viral images. So what did the cops do is a question that you might have in this situation. Well, they went to the apartment complex and asked around. Here they are at the apartment complex asking around. Here's some more viral, well, less viral, but still, images of them doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. And also, they asked the tenants, and the tenants were like, yeah, no, there is no gang coming around collecting rent. For the record, I do want to point to something. Do I believe that there is gang activity in a slum? Yes, I do. In an underserved community, can some of those gang members also be a part of this Venezuelan gang? Sure. Do I believe that the Venezuelan gangs have actually overtaken some of these slums and are collecting rent? No, I don't. I don't believe that. That's what is more likely in this circumstance is the slumlord decided to hit the racism button in an effort to evacuate the slums that he is the landlord of, that he is left in a dire situation, and instead is trying to get them out of there so that they can, I guess, like demolish it and rebuild something else. Has anyone actually figured out where this apartment ring video footage came from? Because I know it was like a lady who claimed to be in an apartment and scared of like the gang activity or whatever, and then they just like told her to get new locks on her door, and then also get ring cameras and whatever. And then she took this footage to a racist council councilwoman in Aurora, and then the councilwoman literally was like, we're gonna move you out of there, and then they moved her to like a different apartment or something. Also, why did they cut the feed immediately once the door opens? Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck it is. I don't know where the video came from. All I know is the person who was responsible for the footage from the door camera is like relocated to a better apartment, apparently, by the very same councilwoman that like has made this a national story. I mean, I rest my case. Dare I say more? Interim police chief woman. Yeah, something's going on here. Methinks it's woke.
Officers out here.
Oh my God. I think Republicans are going to start doing that. The methinks type shit. They already do like epic bacon posting. It's wild how little we give a f about like the actual people that we supposedly are, we supposedly seem to care about in this story, like the tenants that are being brutalized by this gang. And then like when tenants are actually asked, they're like, yeah, there's no gang takeover, man. What the f are you talking about? And it's like there's an absentee landlord though. What is this? I've been getting stories of people too that tell the truth. They're afraid to speak out because no one does anything. Girl, I'm a property management in an apartment complex in Aurora, and we've been getting large number of Venezuelans moving in, and the properties never looked as dirty as it does now. We charge them trash fees, but they don't care because they have all these fees organizations paying up for a year of rent. Also gunshots at night and police never show up. I had a guy walking around with a knife and police never showed up. My husband had to stand up to the man. Wow, what a source. Thank you. Hey, look at my racist property manager source. Who are you going to believe? The actual victims of this supposed gang activity, who also happen to be brown, or this property manager that's saying Venezuelans are disgusting? Yo, this story is awesome. It contains multitudes. All right, local level left. State your business.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, good to finally meet you. Big fan. Before I start, I just want to let you know that you're part of the reason I ran for office originally. So thank you for being an inspiration to me and a lot of other lefties all across the country and the world. But yeah, I was on city council from 2019. I got elected in December 2019 or November 2019 and ran for mayor instead of running for my council seat because we've been in the minority out here. For those of y'all who don't know, Aurora is a heavily Democratic city. It's fairly progressive as well. This was a place that Bernie Sanders just crushed in 2016 and in 2020. But unfortunately, our current state government and Democratic Party are run by our Libertarian governor, who you're familiar with. So basically, last year, I worked with the East Colfax Community Collective and Unidos por una Nueva Economía, UNE, United for a New Economy, to go after slumlords in our city, because it's been a huge issue. You're probably familiar with the Nome Street property. That was the first one that kind of made national news. I actually went and toured that building last March or May, I think May actually. I got pictures and everything if you want them. Brought those photos to our city attorney and to our regulatory agency basically in the city. And they were like, yeah, this rises to like a criminal level of like neglect and disrepair just because there's a history of going after this property in the city. It's been a nuisance for a long, long time. Basically, it's an out-of-state slumlord who owns that property and a couple of other ones, some of the other ones that are involved in this manufactured story. And he's just never done anything about it. He intentionally rents to folks who are like can barely scrape 2 pennies together, takes advantage of folks who are undocumented, but also has documented people there who are like reentering from the criminal legal system, or who just frankly can't get rent anywhere else. So a lot of like month-to-month leases, really does like a piss poor job of maintaining the property, obviously, threatens people. I heard stories from tenants when I actually went there and knocked doors and talked to folks, where the guy who's their property manager sits in an office behind like steel bars in front of the window with a shotgun on his lap and a pistol on his hip, and walks around and intimidates people, posts notices of like, oh, we're going to, fine you an extra $200 for whatever reason, just things that people aren't even responsible for, but there's no recourse because, these folks either lack the legal means to protect themselves or are undocumented and don't want to get involved with the police. But the fact that, that they're saying now this is like a gang related issue is complete horseshit. This is 100% a slumlord who is trying to find a way to basically continue to neglect this and to come out of this looking clean. So what's happening here is, obviously we're 60 some odd days out from a presidential election. There's a guy named John Fabricator. I know, like, you can't make up these names, right? But
yeah, I thought you were lying when you said
What's
Fabricator. I thought you were lying when you said John Fabricator. That sounds crazy.
No, like it is wild, but like you can't write this, man. Like I'm surprised the Onion's still in business. But yeah, so they fabricated this story about, a Venezuelan gang taking over apartments in Aurora. And what I wanted to end up building it up to was expropriating the property and turning it into housing cooperatives. Because these folks can already afford to pay rent. They just don't have someone who's willing to take care of the property. So let's just hand it over to the tenants themselves. These are hardworking people. Man, I toured their units, right? Like where they didn't have like the roof, the roof like caving in and letting in water. They take really good care of their living space, but it's like rodent infested. There's roaches and all this other stuff because this guy's a piece of slumlord has never actually done anything for his tenants.
Yeah, it seemed like he was not like he didn't even like pay for the trash collection because there was like a lot of trash piling up, and then it's being presented as though like the Venezuelans can't take care of themselves when it's like
exactly.
No, you have to have as a property manager like the city should be suing the property manager for not actually taking care of the trash.
Yep.
But instead it is turned okay, so they did. So the city did actually take action against the slumlord.
It takes years for this though, because this guy has I think he lives in Florida if I'm not mistaken.
I think Brooklyn.
He has the means. Yeah, he has the means to just drag this out. In the meantime, like these people are still living in squalor, and he's just working with Jurinsky and the other fascists on council and our dope mayor to like, and I don't mean that in a good way, like he's a dope, like he's, people, the way people talk Biden, like he does that too. He literally falls asleep in the middle of council meetings. He doesn't know what's going on half the time. But yeah, so they're working together to basically protect this guy. I don't know, maybe he's a big donor. I haven't looked into their campaign finance records that closely, but yeah, like it's a whole just made up story that is now putting our community at risk because like we have immigrants now who are terrified. So it's creating this whole mess, and this is all because this guy wants to run for Congress against Jason Crow, who he's the guy that defeated our now current mayor back in 2018. I think you know who Crow is. But yeah, he is trying to basically drum up this whole narrative about Aurora being a sanctuary city and like, doing all these things to bend over backwards to defend immigrants.
Here's a Westword.com article. Aurora judge rules gang-fearing slumlord can wait until February to resolve charges away from jury. Zev Baumgarten, who claimed the Venezuelan gangs took over his property, can now resolve outstanding code charges on February 14th. So they like delayed the trial, which he was, like you said, it takes a long time. It seems like there was already a trial in place, and he has been able to use the media-driven panic narratives of Venezuelan gangs overtaking his property in an effort to basically avoid prosecution. So it's pretty obvious going on here.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias, right? So that's why this shit just spreads like fire on Facebook and on Twitter now, because Musk has turned it into an even more of a hell site. But yeah, now we're playing catch up, trying to explain to people what's actually going on, right? Like I live here, like it's safe as any other place. None of this stuff is actually happening, but man, it's something that you talk about a lot. Like there's just no media literacy anymore. So people see something spun out of context, excuse me, something spun out of context or just fabricated, and they run with it. And it is nationwide news, while like this is the first time I think anyone who has like been trying to counter this story has gotten in front of someone with an actual following. So thank you for giving me the ability to do that. But like it's insane.
It says here on this article that according to records from the Aurora Police Department, Baumgarten is the owner of the apartment complex at Nome Street that was shut down by the city on August 13th for outstanding code violations dating back to 2020, including rat infestations, backed up sewage, and pileups of trash. Hundreds of residents were evicted in the process. Baumgarten was scheduled for a jury trial in Aurora Municipal Court on August 27th to resolve 81 charges, and then at a second date on September 5th to deal with